Hey, I'm Alex Garrett, and some news today. I have rebranded the YouTube side of things, Alex Garrett Productions, and this will be the first interview since that rebrand. And on the Sports Hour side, glad to welcome in someone who did this. Cain Ruiz, remember, did this at the Stan Musial All-Star Game in Long Island about a month ago. That one's launching to left field, and it will be gone! A solo homer, a leadoff home run for Cain Ruiz in the top of the first on the left field line. And his Long Island Devil Rays have won the Stan Musial Division I World Series, if you will, championship, if you will. And Cain joined me for an edition of Alex Garrett Podcasting and Alex Garrett Productions. Cain, you are not only part of the Long Island Devil Rays. At the time, you guys were, 21-1 or something of that effect? And then you went on to win the ring. And congrats on winning Stan Musial Division I baseball.
Thank you, man. It was a ride this whole season. Every game was ecstatic,
I'll get into why I'm wearing my Queens College hat in a minute, but let's focus on this summer that was. I mean, 21-1 at the break. How'd you guys get there to begin with?
What was really cool was that everybody showed up. There was never a shortage of guys. We would show up and, have maybe 15 guys deep. Pitching was A1, bats always showed up. And like if one was, not on point, then we always backed ourselves up. Defense was off, offense was on point, and stuff like that. We always picked each other up. It was just solid.
It's funny you say that because I feel like people, when they see these leagues, are like, well, how committed are they? Because obviously you guys are not kids. You got lives. You're adult. You're doing the adulting thing, right? So to have that commitment on that team must have felt really special all year through.
Yes, absolutely. Because that is a great point. Like a lot of these times you'll see teams where it's like, oh, we can only get 5 guys to show up tonight. Game's canceled. Nobody could show up, but our guys, we solid. Even if some guys were busy, a lot of other guys were ready to show up. So it was awesome. Great team atmosphere.
Who was in that division, so to speak? I mean, is Selden in there? Break it down for us.
So yes, there was the Oilers, who we played in the championship. We played the Falcons in the semis, and a lot of the times I know we played the Vendetta. I know we played the Stingers, and I kind of just lose track. A lot of the times you just show up to play baseball. But those are definitely 4 teams I remember.
All right, so I remember that there were a few Long Island Devil Rays. Isn't there like an East-West, something like that?
Yes, yeah. Chris is running a really solid organization. We had 3 teams this year. We had, if I'm not mistaken, the D2 East and the D2 West, and then we had the D1 squad. And I'm not sure if it was the East or the West, but one of them actually made it to the chip for the D2 series.
Cool.
And unfortunately, we didn't get to take that one. But, it just shows that we have a lot of guys that are through and through, solid club, solid organization.
Does division change his recruiting? Like, how does that work?
To be honest, I'm not sure. That's probably a question for Chris. But I know that it started with, he just is a monster recruiter. He just gets everybody. And just, I think, I'm not sure if this is how it happened, but he probably had so many guys that he was like, let's just make more, expand. And just, that's what it seems like. And we got now 3. Who knows? Maybe we'll grow to more squads. It'll be crazy.
Right. Yeah, it sounds okay. So where did you guys win? Just where did you guys win this championship?
At Garden City Community Park. Yeah.
Okay. And that's kind of been your home the whole season, or?
So yes, that's where we played Monday through Friday. Always have been there. Maybe give or take 1 game, but I know the weekends we would switch up. Sometimes we play in Selden at the high school. I think Newfield High School. But for the most part, Garden City Community Park. A lot of our games are played there.
All right, I'd rather ask you about your performance this Obviously, you killed it in the All-Star game with the leadoff homer. But what about your performance the rest of the way? What was that like? And how did you guys maintain after the break?
As far as my personal performance, I'm not exactly sure how I did. I kind of felt like I didn't stay on par with my first half, but thankfully enough, the team just kept in stride and we just kept winning. I think we only lost one other game this year, and that was actually the first game of the semis against the Falcons. So we actually had our back against the wall after going 21 or 25 and 1. And thank goodness we were able to come back and win 2, win or go home basically. And yeah, it was just after that we stayed hot. After the All-Star break, we just kept winning, got into the playoffs, lost the first one, but then just went on the streak. We won the next 4.
I think the outside world, these pro-am, however you want to say, baseball leagues are like, why would I join it? But there is a benefit to joining it, even if you're a little older, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, even we had a pitcher, Ray Weber, where he actually got picked up by the MLB Draft League. So he's pitching for Trenton Thunder right now.
A Yankee affiliate, by the way.
What happened?
A Yankee affiliate, by the way.
Yeah, they used to be the double A team. Now I think it's the Somerset Patriots. But I'm pretty sure that they're associated with them somehow. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Somerset did become like D2, the double A for them. Anyhow, let's talk about, again, this league, as you say, it can happen. Anybody can be picked up. But having been just through college, right? I believe you graduated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Are you becoming a mentor on that team for the kids that are a little younger? I mean, there are some young kids on that Devil Ray team, right?
Yes, yeah. We have a couple guys that I think we're still in college. But yeah, as far I'm not sure if I understand your question though.
Do you feel like you're becoming a leader on that team for the younger guys, having been through the college already, and you went to Mercy too? So.
Yeah, I went to Mercy. As far as the leader, I don't know. I just show up. We're all kind of like good buddies, And I mean, a lot of our guys went to college, graduated college, great ball players too. So, I mean, definitely, I would say the older guys give some insight on like some of the college, like for guys going to the college, but some of the times too, they go through their own experiences. Every college experience is individual, I'd say. So for sure, it's kind of like a process. Even though we're the older guys on the team, we're still young, living and learning.
Exactly. I mean, you just graduated, so you're still only 22, 23, right?
No, I'm 25. I'm an older guy, for sure.
25, geez, I thought you were younger. That's great. And playing obviously makes you feel young. But, and by the way, I got to just say this. I love that you guys kept the Devil Ray look. I think we all kind of miss it. They try and replicate it down in Tampa now as like a nostalgia thing, but you guys pull it off really well. I just got to say that.
Thank you. This is all Chris. Chris designs. He comes up with the nice hot pink and the light blue combination. It's been a thing for the past couple of years. We just keep like.
Ironically, when the Devil Rays were the Devil Rays, they weren't the champions. It's kind of funny that you guys have like taken it like, yeah, we'll win for you guys. Like.
Yeah, exactly, right? They couldn't do it down in Tampa, so we did it here.
Well, exactly. So let's talk about transitioning. I mean, after college, obviously, you want to play ball. So was Stan Musial like the first league you went to? Like, it's sort of like, well, if it wasn't for Stan Musial, I don't know. Were you looking at other leagues as well, or was this the one because you had connections here, or?
So I never actually looked into men's leagues. I know that once COVID hit in 2020 and I had come back from school for the summer, I technically graduated with my bachelor's. I graduated with my bachelor's and was looking for another opportunity to play, which is how I ended up getting to Mercy. But that summer is when Chris actually DM'd me. He was like, hey, are you looking to play? So I said, sure, why not? I want to stay fresh because I look to continuing my collegiate career. And so I actually joined Chris's team back in 2020. And I didn't know it was Stan Musial. I didn't really give much thought to men's league. I just was looking for reps to stay fresh for college. And it worked. and I just stayed with Chris since. And it's been a ride, I remember the first thing I said after we won the chip. I said, Devil Rays finally got a chip. After 3 years, we finally got it.
Let me ask you about that. So obviously the team itself has been a process. You're saying basically for the last few years. So did you see this happening eventually back a couple of years ago? Like, was there a building going on here?
I don't think there was much of a building. I just kind of expected us to win every year. It's just that, we just fell short the first couple times, and this year we weren't going to let that happen. So we finally cashed in. Even last year, I think we lost on the last game of the season in the chip. So, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was to the Falcons. So we were able to beat them again in the semis and kind of get our revenge, I guess you could say. But yeah, we were always a squad. It was never like a building process. We always were pretty solid. And this year, I guess all the pieces just put together.
For a lot of these guys, playing at Duck Stadium is always a treat, is always like a thrill. No matter how many times you do it, there's something about it. But you guys hit a home run there. So talk about that for a moment. You didn't expect that, did you?
No, I can't say I did. It was definitely that's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. It's cool. Even if I'm talking to my buddies, he's like, let's go to a Ducks game. I say, yeah, I hit a home run there, But I've been blessed. I was able to play at Duck Stadium when I was younger, around like 14, 15, in like one of those Summer League All-Star games. And just to be able to come back and get that opportunity. Again, I wasn't even trying for it either. I had a 2-0 count. I was looking for something, fastball to drive right center. And I just got my barrel out a little earlier and was able to hit it over the fence. So that was, but definitely a moment I'll remember for forever.
And I hope Jeter doesn't mind me saying this. It was Jeter-esque. How many World Series, how many home runs did he do for leadoffs in the All-Star game even? You know what I mean? Like, that was a Jeter-esque moment right there.
That's awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, no, he's a stud, too. I love watching. I'm starting to watch The Captain, the documentary.
Yeah.
I've only gotten like 3 episodes in. Have you checked it out?
You know what? I've been busy doing morning radio and everything, so it's been not easy to catch up. But I want to ask you this because you just brought another question. Like, obviously, you guys have a life outside the diamond, but you want to bring more of your guys here to this podcast. Why? Because they have a baseball story within themselves, don't they?
Oh, of course, yeah. Especially as a team. I have my own interpretation of the season, and a bunch of guys I know definitely had different feelings on the championship. I felt great. Some guys, maybe it was their first year on the squad, and they'll have a different piece to say. And also, I just think that the world of baseball is amazing because it's a huge world. So many teams, but everybody knows everybody. It's all a family.
It's super connected, is it not? It's so connected.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's like you could talk to one of our guys on the team, and he'll be like, "Man, I was playing one time with him, and I know that guy,"
Well, especially because Long Island baseball is so small. It's unbelievable, the small world. In fact, one of my guys from Queens College played in one of the games, Lou Antos, and I'm like, wait a minute, I announced Lou at Queens College, So
yeah,
it's kind of that. And then when I brought that up to you, you're like, yeah, well, I played at Mercy. I'm like, oh, you're in the ECC too. So it's like, whoa, what a small world. And,
exactly.
To all the leaders that put all this together every year, not only Jimmy Rose and Bob Depot, and of course, Bob Dranoff at the ECC. I mean, we get a lot of years ringing today, there's so many connections.
Yeah, there is. And it all comes full circle,
You've gotten to know Jimmy over the last few years. He's been a guy that does this every year. What a dude, right? He's the man.
Jimmy's all around. I love it. I actually got to fill in for a game with him one time, and that was a cool experience too. Played at Eisenhower. It was a fun game.
Yeah, I know Eisenhower. I haven't seen a game out there yet. So the whole gag is that I've always done the All-Star game. I've never seen an actual regular season game. I've got to change that next year, though.
Oh, really?
I've always made the trek out to the ballpark, and then after that, it kind of like died out for me because I went on back to my regular radio life, So
yeah, maybe you can come check out a game and do a podcast live at the game.
Would love to do that. Now, are you guys going to play again this summer, or is it done? Like, what does a championship mean in the Stan Musial world? Does that mean you reboot in a couple weeks, or is that now till next year or the fall?
So I know that the summer season is over. There's no more coming together to play for the summer. However, we have been talking, even the night of the championship, we were talking about when are we going to get together to play again. And there was talks about a lot of fall work, like scrimmages. Maybe we might even see Jimmy's team in a scrimmage or so. I know we were talking about potentially getting a team together to go down to the tournament. There's a tournament in Florida, and we just want to keep our winning streak alive. We won one chip. Let's see if we can get another one.
That's true. And after winning one, I'm sure it's like, well, now let's do it again, right? So there's that motivation.
Exactly. We're all feeling good. We kind of just caught that hot streak at the end. We won 4 straight, to them sweeping the chip, and we want to see just keep it going. We know we have a solid group of guys, and we kind of want to keep it together for as long as we can, see how that goes,
All right. I want to know more about you, though, because obviously when you get in this league, you're not a rookie at this, meaning you've been around for probably since Little League, right? So talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so I actually started in Little League when I was 4 years old, and just kind of stayed around the game till around like 5th grade, 6th grade, and then that's when I started to get the hunger and passion for it, and I turned it up, got to middle school, played JV, varsity, and realized that I could actually do something with baseball. That's when I started looking for schools. And I actually was blessed to be able to have the opportunity to play college baseball at 4 different schools. So that was rather unique. And
what were the 4? I know Mercy would tell us the other 3.
So out of high school, I had committed to Erskine College in Due West, South Carolina, which at the time in 2015, they were the number 3 ranked Division II school in the nation. So that was really cool. However, it wasn't the best fit for me. I got to experience what it was like to be a part of like a factory right there. It was really cool. A lot of baseball. Down south baseball is a different beast. And
there's a field every block, I feel like, in the South, right? I mean, come on now.
It was that, and also our field when we had gotten there, it was like a pristine dirt field, almost as pure as turf. And when we got there, they were redoing it to get it laser graded, it's called. So make sure it was perfectly flat. It was like a $10,000 process. We couldn't even play on the field for like a month. Whoa. But that was really nice too, just playing on that field. Big outfield, a lot of space to run and hit the ball. And but yeah, it just wasn't the best fit for me. So I decided to use my red shirt. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend at a JUCO upstate called Sullivan County. Okay. And he said, hey, if you want, I can reach out to my coach. And I kind of just took a shot in the dark, went to the workout. The coach loved me, had very successful seasons there. My first year, I hit 360 with 1 home run. And then the next year, my sophomore year, I hit 410 with 1 home run. I won MVP honors. It was the whole season.
What was the school name again? Tell us again the school name.
Sullivan County Community College in Loch Sheldrake, 2 hours north of the city. And that was just a great experience. I loved it.
Now, did you hit the gym for that, or how did you practice to get from that to from 360 to 410? You're no slouch to begin with, but how did you get from that moment to get to 410?
I don't really know. It's funny because although I had a great personal season my sophomore year, I felt that the freshman season was better because, our whole lineup, I think 1 through 7 was hitting over 350, and we just won a lot of games. I felt like I was really doing what the team needed that year. And in the sophomore season, I just came ready to play. And I really got, a lot of good pitches to hit that year. I know I started off very hot down south. And then when we came back, I actually had a little injury. So I was sidelined for like a week. But when I came back, it kind of never cooled down. It's just that we didn't really win as much. I think we only won like 6 games that year. So although I had a great season, it wasn't very successful because it was tough to just show up to the field every day with that record,
Well, let me say that I will say Cain Ruiz. His Instagram is what, Cain Ruiz Baseball. Give that in a second. But when he went up to the booth, he was like, "Yeah, I heard you made a call about the home run." I said, "I happen to have that." And then as I talked to you, you weren't about the home run at all. You were like focused on the team. So I feel like through your years, it's always been the team oriented, not so much the personal success. Despite what the Instagram username says, which is Cain Ruiz Baseball, it's more that you love the game, not so much your own. I don't know. It's not about your own performance 99% of the time, I feel.
Absolutely. What I've noticed in the game is that if you just worry about yourself, one, it doesn't help you become a better teammate. You want to have a good teammate so you can have a solid group of guys around you. If you start to have a team where everybody's just focused on themselves, then all of a sudden it's like, well, why would I want to work with this guy? And then the chemistry falls off. And then if you don't win, you can have a great season and it's just not as invigorating, You want to win with your guys, with your boys, with your brothers, If you go up and say, yeah, I'm having good, oh, well, we lost. All right, that's cool. We lost, but I went 3 for 3 today. I went 4 for 4 today. No, you still have to do your part to contribute to the team because at the end of the day, whatever you do, as long as you're helping the team win, it's going to feel great, right? We won the chip, and, I went 0 for 3 in the championship game, but I was celebrating just as hard
Of
when we won,
course.
Because that's what it
did
is.
You get to make, and now, what position are you in the field?
Center field.
So did you make did your defense do well that night, or did you get many chances out there, or what?
We had a decent amount of opportunities. Definitely the play of the game has to be the last out because it got to a nail biter. We were up around, I think it was 2-0 for the whole game. And then come the bottom of the seventh, because they were the home team, and we had first and second 2-1 with 2 outs.
Oh.
And it was a lefty up, and our pitcher, Ariel Taveras, was pitching, and he gave up pretty solid contact down the right field line on the ground, and our first baseman, Ryan Brewer, full body dive. It was one of those moments where as soon as contact was made, your heart sank because the time runs on second, and that ball is smoked down the line. They could probably send the guy from first if they have enough time, and we might have to push it to a game 3 where our backs are again
against the ball.
And yeah, exactly. But I remember because I saw Ryan dive, and my first reaction was look down the line, let's pick up this ball. But then I see him get up and he's sprinting to the bag, and I'm like, he caught it. It was ridiculous with the game on the line. That's ice cold right there. It was sick. So that was definitely the defense that saved the game right there. Other than that, I can't seem to remember any. It was a tight game, 2-1. It wasn't really a lot of opportunities. So, but that play came up big.
You guys carried a lot at the All-Star game. I mean, you have 5 or 6 guys playing the All-Star game. But I thought Chris did a good job managing the other teams. And why I say that is because sometimes there are a lot of feelings involved with these All-Star games. Can we just admit that? Why are you playing him, but not me? And I thought Chris balanced it out. But to carry a few of those guys on your team with you to the All-Star game must have been feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it was funny because I remember warming up. I was like, wow, we have enough guys to put our own squad out there. And but yeah, no, Chris definitely he knows what he's doing. He could be pro. Somebody could come to our games and scout him for the league, But but yeah, no, it's definitely a good balance. I think everybody got an equal opportunity, an equal burn, and it's really for an experience, just to say you got to play on Duck Stadium, check it out, especially squad.
You mentioned the league a couple of times. Is that still a goal of yours to be up in the show?
I would love to, I try and stay fresh. Even this year, I had a couple. I went to the Pioneer workouts, the Atlantic League workouts, even the Ducks. I came up short, but it's still a drive. I want to stay fresh, stay on point, and hopefully get an opportunity somewhere. If I could maybe even just sign an indie contract, go somewhere just to get an opportunity. It's keeping the dream alive,
Are you a Long Island kid at heart? Are you a Long Island kid through and through, or were you born in the city? What's your background?
No, I was born on Long Island, born and raised in Long Island, Nassau County. don't really. I mean, I've gone to the city and stuff like that, but for closest I've been to it, I guess Sullivan County. A lot of kids are from the city, and Mercy College is just north of the city. So, but
Are you
definitely New York as a whole.
are
Yeah.
you a multi-sport athlete? Like, have you played other sports also?
Yes, yes, definitely. I always played sports growing up. That was my favorite thing to do, whether it was baseball. I actually, ironically enough, baseball wasn't even my favorite sport for a long time. My favorite sport to play was basketball,
Okay.
and I was really good. But with my height, there wasn't a big future in that. So I kind of looked realistically towards baseball. But basketball, sometimes like not flag football, but like football, like backyard football with your friends at the field or something.
Uh-huh.
And in high school, actually a varsity volleyball player. I was the libero for the squad,
I'm
and
glad we're talking about
that
this.
was
That had been fun. And men's volleyball, I don't know how intense. I know women's volleyball is very intense, but we didn't really have men's at Queens College, so I didn't really get a chance to see that. But
yeah. It's funny because actually in middle school, I was always against volleyball. I was like, why would I join volleyball? I don't want to join volleyball. But then I figured, it gives me something to do for the wintertime. And I joined it, and it just kind of came to me naturally. I ended up, I think, playing 4 years of varsity and just had a phenomenal experience. Our senior year, we actually took our team 16-0 into the playoffs. First
wow.
time in school history. And that's a sport where if I was given the opportunity to play like at a higher level, like even in college, which I was actually speaking to, I think Mount St. Vincent or St.
Sure.
Vincent, Mount Vincent. Yeah, and but that was to play volleyball in college. I was looking for baseball, but it was definitely a great ride.
I'm so glad we're talking about this because I know that also you now don't you help kids out in the camps and all this stuff now? Because I know that you mentioned that yesterday you were doing that. So, um, uh, in the as they're getting younger, they're only told to do one sport now. Am I wrong? I feel like the multi-sport aspect is being thrown out the window and the specialist, and I think that's bad for the kids. You may be able to weigh in on this more because you're watching them grow up now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that because I'm coaching these kids, and you hear it. Like, even I was speaking to a couple kids that were friends with the Massapequa Little League team that just made the World Series, and
Sure.
they were saying, yeah, those are the kids that had their sports picked out for them when they were 5. And I'm thinking, like, that's great that they're solid and sticking with it, but you had your sport picked out for you. Now, what if that kid didn't like baseball? And I'm not saying it's like I think it's a great sport to get into. I love baseball, but it is not for every kid, and that's a fact. I work with 5 and 6-year-olds at these camps, and a lot of the times you hear, "Oh, I don't want to be." Well, why not, bud? Oh, because I don't even like baseball. But then why'd you play for the camp? Oh, because my dad wanted me to play. My mom wanted me to play. And it's like, well, that maybe is a conversation. Obviously, they're not going to sit down and have a heart to heart, but it's something that I feel is it's too much on the kids where you're forcing them to play a sport where they don't even like it yet, and that might even drive them away from the sport.
And then you get
You
the
know?
parents involved at these little league games. I mean, look, a lot of these games are not easy for officials now. Umpires don't want to do this anymore because they see the flack, the crap they're getting from the families, and it's just ridiculous to me.
It is. It's the worst thing when you have like Coach Mom or Coach Dad on the sidelines. That's why when I remember growing up, when we would play, there was always a rules like no parents in the dugout. Because it's just for the baseball team, for the coaches, we get our stuff done. And if we have something to say to the umpire, our coaches would handle it. We weren't even allowed to talk back. Because it's just certain of like, all right, this is your role, this is your position. As you get older, you get to see more and more of the game, which is where you'll be able to be more vocal. But I think that especially for the younger ages, as long as they're passionate about it, let their coaches mold them in a way. Now, if their coaches, have a different view, then that could be worked around as well. But I just feel like it shouldn't be pressured on the kids. If
I
that
am
makes
so
sense.
glad you mentioned Massapequa because you are honestly the first baseball player on Long Island to talk to since all of this has gone down. I believe they play now Hawaii in the Little League World Series. So, Massapequa and just Long Island Little League, that's a big moment. Now, do you have any connects to them? Did you any connection to them? Even as a kid, did you have any connects with that whole team there?
So I never, I know we had played for, I had played for the Long Island, not the Long Island, but like the Valley Stream tournament team. And we never made it past, I think, like just the local tournaments. But as far as Massapequa, where I work at in Max Effort, we have coached some of those kids. You know, I can't tell you like the exact names. I know we've worked with Massapequa through and through, I think like from 8 to 14U. So I'm definitely sure we've crossed paths with some of those kids going up there. And it's awesome to be involved in that process, you know, and say like, hey, you know, we kind of helped. But yeah, no, I remember them being a solid group of kids, a bunch of like good athletes. You know, everybody could play a lot of different positions and stuff like that.
Well, I gotta ask you this then. The moment that everybody talks about now is how this kid got hit in the head, you know, from one of the play, and then he went and hugs the pitcher after he was crying. We don't see that sportsmanship even in Little League anymore. So, as a baseball enthusiast, that must have made you feel some sort of way.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely showing good sportsmanship, you know, especially at the younger age where they're not sure. It almost seems like every time you get hit by a pitch, it's intentional, you know, but it's definitely good to see that, you know, they care and they're not trying to, I guess, hurt each other, which you hope not. You know, you don't want to say, all right, he hit a home run off me last time, I'm going to kill him now at a young age, you know?
And even as where you are now, I'm sure that watching the major leagues, there's been so many brawls in the majors this year, like especially early on. Where did that come from? Like even just a tag out at third base between Beckham and Donaldson. It's like I don't remember baseball like this. So maybe you have some insight as to why it's getting the way it is. It seems like every little thing becomes a brawl now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some players just have a mindset where it's like, oh, you can't do anything to me. I'm untouchable. But at the same time, I also don't really mind the brawls so much because it shows me that there's a certain level of like heated passion for the game, you know? And like, for example, I'm not a fan of like throwing at, especially when pitchers throw at players' heads at the big league level because they're throwing 100 miles per hour. That could do some damage, you know? But I mean, definitely when it gets heated and stuff like that, I kind of don't mind it because it shows, you know, they're ready to play. They want to defend their team and stuff like that. And also, it's always
I will
something
not
to watch.
excuse Donaldson for saying Jackie. I know that Beckham said it, which I thought was stupid to begin with. But for Josh Donaldson to add to that flame, just stay out of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know like all the details on that, but I mean, whatever it is, they've crossed paths since, right? It's cooled down.
I mean, they since the brawl in the stadium. I mean, that's been the last time they saw each other because they didn't play after that, I don't think. But anyway, I wanted to know your thoughts, and that's kind of my segue into the major leagues, because you guys stayed hot after the break, and the Yankees, who get paid millions more than any of you, have just completely, I don't know, people say they shot their load in the beginning of the year. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it was the trade deadline, but again, as someone who's a baseball fan and follows all of this, why? How are they 3-7 their last 10, the last 20 weeks? It feels like. So what is going
on? You know, I'm not really too worried, I'll tell you. And it's weird to say because they have been playing horrible baseball, but the pace that they were on at the beginning of the season was historical. You're talking about if they kept that pace, they would have gone down as the best statistical, you know, team in history, maybe even talent-wise as well. You never know because they would have been projected. But to expect them to keep that pace was a little, you know, it was high hopes right there. So the fact that they're cooling down now, I'd much rather see because you're not going to tell me that team is going to stay cool for the rest of the season. You know that they have a pretty good chance at the playoffs and that when they do get hot, I'd rather see them get hot, you know, in October than stay hot after the All-Star break and crash in September and October.
This fire whoever nonsense doesn't make any sense to me. You know why? Because Benintendi just is a little cold right now. I mean, he's new to New York. I don't want him to get Gallo syndrome. I'm a little worried about that. But I'm more concerned that all these fans are like fire, boom, fire. you know what? They don't have Stanton right now. They just lost Holmes, and obviously if that Holmes thing was addressed earlier, I think they would have made changes very early on when he started to struggle. I mean, he blew a couple saves here. But for the most part, this isn't managerial. And I don't even think it's Cashman. I think it's just they're going through it. And as a baseball player, when you're in a slump, you're going to swing at every freaking thing possible. And that's what's happening with this team, is it not?
Yeah, I definitely say the hitting is not there. I wasn't too worried about even when Holmes was blowing it too, because he was just getting beat, and some days you just don't have your stuff. I'd rather see you give up a bomb before you walk the house. I was at the game the other day when Donaldson hit the grand slam, the walk-off.
I was there that night too. I left a little earlier, but I was there that night.
Oh, you left early? Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, I stayed through the rain delay and everything. That was some game. But were you there when Chapman was put into the game?
No, so what happened was I had an interview to do the next day very early, so I had to go home and whatnot. But I know I saw it on TV, and again, Chapman that's just a fluke. I don't know. I feel like he's back a little bit from what we've seen before that performance. He's not been terrible this time around, so I give him another chance.
The problem with Chapman is how I was saying when Holmes is just getting beat, I feel like he's not even competing. And when he was coming out, the Yankee fans were booing him, even after he's been decent lately. They were booing him. Then he started to fall apart. And then when he gave up the 2-out, 2-strike, it was an 0-2 pitch.
I know.
Everybody was just like, get rid of him. I didn't hear one positive thing. And I've never heard a fan base so unanimous towards the hatred of one player, especially being their home team. That was just amazing. But it shows just like, he's had many opportunities. And it hasn't been just like recent. It's been throughout a period of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because if you look at him, he doesn't throw 105 like he used to, but he could dial it up to 101.
He still looks like a bull, okay? He looks like a bull out there that's ready to just fire it in any minute. And I think that's why we're all confused. It's like he looks ready to go. So what's happening? It's a mechanics thing. It's an aging thing. I think it's because he's been around a long time. Remember, he closed the World Series, I think, for the Cubs. I mean, people forget about that, but he was Rizzo's teammate back in Chicago. He induced the ground ball to third, which we all know is historical at this point. Bryant to Rizzo, that was it. I mean, I get excited for the most part because here's why I get excited. Because my dad's a Cub fan, so reliving all that is just like history. And the fact Rizzo still got it. I don't know why. I don't know why the Cubs just dissipated like that. I don't think it was just Madden. I think it was a whole host of things. But anyway, he was effective, and I want to have faith that he can be. But let's switch boroughs for a minute, because the other side of town also happens to be in first place, also happens to be lighting up every time Narcos played for Eddie Diaz. The question is, can they get it to him? And the last few games, they haven't been able to. I guess last night was a blowout against Philly, which is expected. They should be beating Philly right now. But with the Braves, of course, they're not going to go away. 4 out of 5 was ridiculous. I don't know how they pulled that off. And Diaz did get 2 saves. But Atlanta home turf is different, firstly. Secondly, Scherzer, DeGrom, you want to win both those games. At least they win one. They didn't get swept out of Atlanta. I'm not terribly concerned. But what do you think? I mean, could the Braves come back? They're world champions. We shouldn't discount them at all.
I 100% agree with you. Like, I'm a Yankees fan, but I love the Mets too. I love like any New York team. But unfortunately, I don't have a lot of faith in them just because of their history. They're known for blowing their. And Atlanta is a solid ball club. They even when as hot as the Mets were, Atlanta was never really too far behind. I'm not saying I expect it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets actually don't even win the division. I kind of expect almost Atlanta to come back, make a fight for that, and push the Mets into a wild card spot. Not taking anything away from them. They are a very talented club, and they actually have a better record than the Yankees right now. But I'd be surprised if they were able to keep this pace throughout the rest of the season.
I mean, look, I think it's I think the Yankees kind of have this. I think the Yankees kind of have this, but I don't know. The Mets are just again, they have the pieces, but can they stay healthy? That's the other thing about this. Can DeGrom and Scherzer be? I hate to say they seem fragile, but they do seem a little bit. Remember, Scherzer played through anything in Washington. Okay, so when he comes out and says, "Oh, I have a hamstring thing, I can't play," or "I have a knee thing," it's like you played through this stuff in Washington. What's going on? You know what I mean? And he just signed that magnanimous contract. One guy, I'm glad living up to this. I'm glad this is an hour long. I don't care. I love this. This is great because I don't get enough sports talk in my life anyway. So, on the podcast, but with Lindor, he's finally earning that contract. I think he did last year also, but he's finally he beat out Jose Reyes for the most RBIs in a single season. I mean, he's doing things in Queens.
He is. And I'm glad because when he first came from Cleveland, I was disappointed. I was a huge Lindor fan, and then to see him just perform horribly, I thought he wasn't able to handle New York. And that whole thing when they started giving a thumbs down to the fans, you can't you could do that in Cleveland maybe, but not in New York. You know, that was
not even him.
bad.
That was Javi Baez, and I don't know what he came in on a high horse for. I mean, he was just on a team that was dismantling, and he thought he was the shit. You know. Anyway, as a ball player yourself, though, do you take in what these guys do? Do you study them to better your own performance?
Oh, absolutely. I've been talking a lot about this clip of Luis Arias from Minnesota right now, right? And he's the batting champ as of right now. Just flat out can hit. And I watched him maybe a million times. There's a bird's eye view of him in the box. And it's just so amazing to analyze because you see an inside pitch coming in on like black, and he's able to keep his hand so tight, close to his body, get barrel on the baseball. And this is the part that I've been talking about, is that he doesn't even get full extension. Like he gets here and kind of just a little bit and then stays through the ball. You know it was smoked. So to see him put, I don't want to say like a different swing, but it's not even the ideal swing. Every time you talk about an ideal swing, you want to get to the spot quick, extend through it. And to me, it was making me think it's like maybe you don't need to do that on every swing. Like every pitch is different. Not going to have the same swing on every pitch. So to maybe do kind of tweaks and to think that he's doing that on a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, let's say, and to be able to understand that maybe if I extend out, I'm probably going to get beat to the spot. You know, my hands might be late there, so I'm able to keep the barrel tight and close. And then when I get there, I could explode with what I'm giving. You know it's not going to be a home run, but it doesn't have to be when you're hitting 340, right? What is he, 335 now?
But mechanics are everything. I mean, you have to adjust your swing almost every at bat, I'm sure every pitch you're trying to adjust your at bat a little bit, not just. And this is the problem. I mean, the shift is what it is, but why are these guys not adjusting? I mean, that's my big question to me. It's like, why aren't you going inside and out if you could? Now, I can't hit a 99-mile-an-hour baseball for my life, but I know enough about baseball to know that you can adjust your swing just a bit. And it's just tempting to always pull it. And I found as a hitter, I am a pull hitter. Like I did swings how many months ago? A couple months ago. And I was like, oh, shoot, I'm pulling the ball too much. You know, like I know, it was even adaptive softball. I got in they play in a wheelchair. You should come out. Wheelchair softball is quite an experience on Monday nights. You got to check this out. I'll send you info if you want. But I got in the chair, and even though I was not sitting down, I noticed, hey, I'm pulling the ball too much. I got to work on my own swing, you know? So that happens. You realize it when you're in the box, but they keep doing it. So I don't know if they realize it, if they think they're, as you say, they're too much of the shit, you know, to adjust themselves. Oh, we'll work this out. No, you're grounding out to like right field because you're hitting the shift. There's got to be some mechanics. I appreciate those who hit in the cage every minute, as you do. I'm sure you do that too. Like you're in the cage. And this leads me to my next question. Off-season regimen. What's that going to be like for you? Like what do you do?
Definitely a lot of working out. I was thinking about getting a lot of sprinting work into, increase some speed, keeping my legs healthy, just staying healthy as I can, and try to incorporate a lot more throwing as well. My arm has felt great all season, so I kind of don't want to, how some players will take a month off or something. I think Trevor Bauer said it. He said if you want to increase velo or increase arm strength, throw every day. Find a way to throw every day. And I know a couple guys like that, but I also know on the other side where guys will take like the off season off from throwing, or maybe throw like once or twice a week. I just want to stay as much around the game as possible. So I have one of my high school buddies that I still hit the field with, and we're talking about, since the seasons are coming to an end, trying to hit the field as much as we can.
All right, you talking about speed. I gotta ask you one more thing, because obviously everybody kind of judges him for being the way he is, but Vogelback can run, and everybody on TV is like, yeah, why are they dissing him? Of course he can run. He's an athlete. And it is remarkable to see him, though. Come on now. That is fascinating to watch.
It is. I love it because it shows that he's playing the game hard despite, for example, Williams Astudillo from Minnesota, that's our through guy, right? When the clip went viral of him, I think, was scoring from first or hitting a triple or something. And he's like, I just want to show that us big boys can run too. And I just love it because that goes back to one of my favorite players, Prince Fielder. You remember?
Yeah. And he could run. He liked out doubles, I think, and stuff like that.
He had triples because Milwaukee had those funky walls. And he would park it off the wall all the time, take those hops, and you see him busting it for a triple. And I love that because it shows that he's playing the game hard. He's like, yeah, I'm big. I could stand up for a double, but I want to go for a triple. Put your team in a better position too, you know? And I just love it because it shows it's like he's more than a one-dimensional player. He's not just going to sit and spin on home runs, but he's going to try and, like out a double, like out a triple, score from second on a gapper, stuff like that. It's great to see. I love it.
All right. I said that was one last question, but I've got like tons more. So let's keep going with this.
Yeah.
Stan Musial League, obviously you guys are the winners, but you have a very good relationship with a lot of people within the league. And of course, Sal D'Ambrosio's kind of called it quits with Selden, which is kind of sad because he's been there for many years. I think that's what I saw on Facebook the other day. But what's your message to other Stan Musial leaguers that want to play to win this chip every year?
Biggest thing is getting a group of guys that show up to the field. When you get depth on that roster, depth on game days, good things will happen. Enough guys will help you because you can't win a game if you only got 7 guys showing up. But I mean, for the most part, there was only a couple of times we faced that problem where we had to wait for some guys on the other team. But other than that, it's just keep playing. Don't take it for granted, even if it's a men's league. Just have fun with everybody.
Hey, no matter what, a starting 9 is a starting 9, and to be in that lineup every day, in my view, at whatever level, is an honor, is it not?
To be in the starting line?
Yeah, starting in the starting 9 is always an honor, no matter what level.
Oh yeah, it always feels good to see a name on that lineup list, and because it's cool because you're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna give him that bet, and then you come through and you cash in. And the biggest thing is just to always forget about your last at bat, because once you bring one at bat into another, even if it was, all right, I smoked a double my last at bat, I'm gonna do it again, and then you ground out. It's like, oh, I did it now, and now it just could be a slippery slope. So
I'm gonna save that clip and send it to the Yankees. I will do that because I feel like they need to hear that. Don't think about your last at bat at this point. Hey, baby Cain Ruiz, I've got to ask you about her because she's following my Instagram, and I'm like, who's baby Cain Ruiz? What is this?
Oh, that's my mom. Yeah, she's baby Cain, because that's been her email since probably I was like 3, I think, 4 years old. And it's funny because she's actually looking at me now. But yeah, she had an email, baby Cain, and she just kind of kept with it, stuck with it. I think when she opened up Instagram, it kind of gave her like one of those names, and she just stuck with it. So yeah, that's my mom supporting.
Are you a sibling? How many siblings you got?
So I have a brother and sister on my father's side. Yeah.
Okay.
And they never got into baseball like I did. My sister, she kind of just was very studious, and my brother just wasn't really into sports. But no, they definitely come to some games before and stuff like that. Check me out. So it's cool.
Now, have Long Island Devil Rays ever traveled outside of Long Island? Like, have you guys done tournaments outside?
So we have. I was not a part of it. I was actually at Mercy when we went down to Florida the first. So they had gone down to Florida. I don't remember for which tournament, but ironically enough, one of the players that they recruited in Florida, this kid Omar Ortiz, I actually got the opportunity to play with him in California. We played in the California Winter League together, and he was really cool. We're looking to maybe play with him again if we go down to Florida. Yeah, he was a stud. Switch hitting catcher. Good
Oh
ball
wow,
player.
that's a good catch right there. Switch hitting catcher. I mean, that's Posada level right there. All right, dude. Cain, thanks so much for joining today, and we'll post this up in the next few days. So keep me posted on what other updates you got, and hey, maybe I'll catch you at another Yankee game. That'd be great. And
All right.
definitely come out to adaptive softball. I think that'll change your world a little bit. I think that anybody who's able-bodied playing sports will be changed when they see people like still doing it, even in a wheelchair. I think that, and I often impart that to Queens College. I said, you guys should come out because, especially in the college world, they get all kind of like, I hate to say entitled, but they sort of feel like, oh, I'm on this, I'm on that. You know what? You're that, but you're also a human. And I think to connect on a human level is very important.
Of course, no, 100%. Yeah, it's especially it's such a great game. Everybody should play it.
Absolutely. All right, man. Cain, I will talk to you soon. And thanks for doing this today on the Sports Hour.
Boy, thank you for having me, Alex. I appreciate it.
You got it. I'm Alex Garrett. This has been the sports edition of Alex Garrett Podcasting, and we'll talk to you soon.